Alrighty, welcome back everyone. It is Laughin' Games here. I'm back with another StarCraft 2 1 versus 1 cast. And we have got ourselves what should be an amazing full best of 5 here today. It's going to be ByuN, I think a lot of people's favorite Terran, taking on the mystery man MaxPax, playing for Storm Gaming, whereas ByuN is on Team Rebellion. Both of them incredible StarCraft 2 organizations, so shout out to the teams that do sponsor StarCraft 2 players and get them to events and things like that. So, ladies and gentlemen, before we get too far into this video, make sure to go ahead and click that like button if you haven't already. Let's go for 10 likes on this video. Leave a comment down below. Let me know which players you want to see, which matchup, which race, that kind of thing. And then subscribe if you're not subscribed, as this is a new YouTube channel out there. And I'm putting up daily videos on it of all things StarCraft 2 that I love. Okay, so as far as the build goes, it's a best of 5. Let me just put that up on the screen there. So that means there's a bit of mind games involved between the players, because pro players, they don't do the same strategy 5 games in a row, or even the 3 games in a row they need to win most of the time. But there's a bit of a meta to that, in that sometimes you want to like do the same thing twice to psych out your opponent, because then your opponent will be thinking, there's no way this guy will do the same thing twice. But for ByuN in this game, he has changed it up a little bit, just built his barracks slightly out on the map to mess with MaxPax, but MaxPax has a probe scout. He's seeing the main base. He knows that the only thing he's going to be up against is a single proxy Rax with a Reaper on the way. So he'll probably Chrono Boost out a Stalker or an Adept. There's the Adept on the way. But anyway, Neon Violet Square is not a map that Reapers are too prevalent on. So ByuN, he just produces the one Reaper, gonna use it to kill that scouting probe right out the gate, and then just go into macro behind this, because it's quite difficult to kill your opponent on a map like this very early on. And so I think we're gonna be set up for what should be a good macro game in game number 1. MaxPax probably likes the base layout on this map. It's nice and defensive to get up 3-4 bases as the Protoss. This back base has fewer minerals, but still the regular amount of gas, which is good for Protoss. Now, whether we'll see either player take that will depend on how long the game goes, how greedy they want to be, because of course you can expand outwards and get a full regular third base, which players generally want. So it kind of depends how you look at these behind the base expansions, because if you're an optimist, you can go, all right, I get an extra base that's free and easy to take. Whereas if you're a pessimist, you'll say, geez, that base only has half the minerals as my regular third. Why on earth would I want that? MaxPax being a nuisance with his Adepts, he's a very, very good user of gateway units. However, ByuN has a Cyclone that pops out in time. It's going to lock on, kill off that Adept. The Adept does delay the natural command center a little bit, but all in all, that is nice for ByuN to get the Cyclone, although he's really taken his time. He took longer than he should have to get that SCV back on building that, so a bit of a delay there. I think he might have sent out the SCV to build the natural, to build the third on location, so the answer is the Terran does want that behind the base expansion. MaxPax, on the other hand, hasn't shown where he's going to expand to yet. I think we'll see it soon, seeing as how he is just on 2, going up to 3 gateways, and then has got yeah, no third base building. I think he'll probably take this outer one, as yeah, ByuN builds his command center at the back, but it's on location for the Terran, which isn't something Terran can usually do at the third, so that's a benefit there. MaxPax also goes for a Prism. He's got Stalkers out. This is how a lot of Protoss open up these days, and so ByuN will need to be on the defensive, but he hasn't built a tank yet. He went for 2 Cyclones instead, which are not the best units against mass Stalkers. So the Terran could be getting bullied a little bit here. And yeah, ByuN definitely will need a bunker or something, as MaxPax is going to move out with a Prism with 6 Stalkers. He'll be able to warp in 3 more at a time, so soon to be 9 Stalkers, and the Terran just has 1 tank to deal with that. So I think ByuN maybe being a little bit greedy here. No bunker is so risky against MaxPax right now. The Terran's going to need perfect positioning. He'll need to pull SCVs in order to defend this if MaxPax does commit on in. And you almost want to be pulling the SCVs and positioning your Marines, so they'll defend the tanks preemptively, but that's not easy to do without getting whittled down by the Protoss. But in goes MaxPax, one tank getting some shots off, and there he goes. He blinks right on top of the tank. The Stalkers are now going to be juggled with the Prism. ByuN just taps on out just like that. That is why you build a bunker, ladies and gentlemen. As ByuN knows, he's dead in this game. Like, MaxPax blinked in. The tank's dead, so he's just going to micro and juggle with the Prism or blink against these few units that ByuN has. There's no way to stabilize against this. That's why building positioning really matters, and that's why having a bunker, or two even, really matters. If you watch, say, Spirit play against MaxPax, who isn't necessarily a better Terran than ByuN, he just has been killed a lot by guys like MaxPax, so you know that you have to wall a certain way as the Terran to invest in certain early game defenses. And so MaxPax gets a very quick and dirty 1-0 lead with that just blink in, kills the tank. That's why as Terran you usually make a tank instead of 2 Cyclones. Like, I get making Cyclones if you're worried about Phoenix or Oracles, but MaxPax wasn't going for Phoenix or Oracles, so I think he definitely needed earlier tank production, because if he does have 2 tanks, MaxPax might have a harder time blinking in. But yeah, ByuN, well, he'll just try and shake off that loss and treat this match like a new match. Not thinking about that too much. Maybe just play a little safer in this one. Okay, so we have got the Adept for MaxPax. Pardon me, Probe. Not Adept yet. If there was a 47-second Adept, that would be very problematic for Terran players. But yeah, that Probe scouting out for MaxPax. Getting that information is very important. Just, for example, he scouted that it was a proxy Rax last game. Not that it was that much of a proxy. I think it was ByuN trying to be a little meta and mess with MaxPax, but he's so good. It's so difficult to pull a fast one over on this toss. And yeah, let's see. As this probe goes in, sees the Rax is where it belongs, he'll check for double gas at some point to see, is it a Reaper expand or just a Marine opening? Or are you going for a quick factory? The answer is ByuN will be expanding because he has no second gas, as we saw there. And the probe, as we follow it, just sort of moves around a little bit and tries to block the expansion of ByuN on location. The Terran doesn't want to go through the hassle of lifting and landing that, as all the little things add up, but ByuN gets it down on location. MaxPax pulls the probe out. I do like this from the Terran. ByuN immediately throws up a tech lab and he's just made 1 Marine, so skipping the Reaper. And then he'll probably be going into Marauders, I want to say. Like, is this Concussive Shell Marauder? Yes, it is. I love this as an opening against a Protoss such as MaxPax, who does like to be out on the map early on with his units. We did see him lose like 2 or 3 Adepts at the start of the last game, so Marauders early on is not a bad choice for the Terran. This means ByuN will probably be going for a 2nd and a 3rd Rax relatively soon behind this. Maybe a 3rd Command Center before that, but I'm guessing it'll be the 2nd and 3rd Rax, as 3 Rax openers are very powerful. As I say that, I'm completely wrong, and he invests in a factory, so yeah, okay. Not sure exactly what ByuN's going for. Maybe tank push with slowly building up Marauders, that kind of thing. It's tough to say, but all in all, not too consequential opening either way, as MaxPax just pokes with the Adept. It eats a few Marauder shells. It will have to complete that Shade, but it does actually get into the main base of ByuN. So he's actually going to get some kills. Will this get out? Oh, it actually gets on out. Will MaxPax cancel that Shade, though, or take the Adept out of the base? He will take it out of the base, but ByuN just taps out again after that poor opening. The red Terran maybe a little bit tilted, as he knows how delayed he was. But man, oh man, that is like a very early GG. Do I blame ByuN for GGing out? But he lost 2 SCVs at the start. He may be a little tilted in this series. Just maybe a bit overwhelmed by how good MaxPax is, that even a little disadvantage, you're in a rough spot. So anyway, we're going to load into game number 3. ByuN's really going to need to compose himself. Hopefully he took a break between these games, as that is not good. Do I blame him for that? Not really, but letting the Adept get in the first place is a big mistake. Letting the Adept get out, so getting kills and then escaping, is even worse. So would ByuN have won that game? Probably not. Could he have played it out? Yeah. It's not the end of the world, though, and we'll see whether ByuN can bring it back after 2 fairly quick GGs. He's just got to try and do something against MaxPax. That's the unfortunate thing. Like, it can seem daunting playing someone who's so much better than you. Anyone who's had to do difficult things, which everyone does in their life, but like, there are tasks that are difficult, but the only thing you can do is just say, okay, I'm going to give it my best. And even if I don't win, I'm going to try and learn something from it. So that's what ByuN needs to approach this matchup as, because if you want to be a competitive StarCraft 2 player, you've got to be able to beat the best players. You can't just say, well, I'm pretty good, but I'll never beat them. It's like, what are you even playing for? No, you got to try as hard as you can. And usually ByuN has a very good attitude, but those early GGs are not ideal. So MaxPax comes in with a probe scout once again. We'll see if he can maybe do something to make ByuN just give up altogether. That would be a ridiculously quick series. I mean, we're into game number 3, only 11 minutes into this cast. Well, into the 12th minute, just about. But look at this. MaxPax comes in, starts harassing with his probe. ByuN's got to repair that SCV, or else MaxPax will just one-zap it. A Reaper is on the way for ByuN. MaxPax goes for a Cyber Core prior to the Nexus, though, so that's going to be good for him. Just having early units out. We'll see whether he gets pokey again. And yeah, ByuN, he goes for a 1-base play, so double gas opening. MaxPax scouts it, though, so he knows what he's up against. The Terran, though, isn't going ham mining all this gas. He'll be building an expansion sometime behind this. ByuN does open up with a second Reaper, though. I do like this. Terrans can definitely poke and prod with their Reapers rather effectively. And so having 2 of those Reapers potentially joined up with a Hellion or Cyclone later on, you can actually kill things like Adepts in the middle of the map depending on the micro. And ByuN does have very, very good micro. Just pulling up the APM there, which is very impressive. There it is. These guys are both just chugging along. Adept for MaxPax sees the 2 Reapers and is going to try and pursue them. As a second Adept will be moving to intercept, but ByuN shouldn't lose either of these. They also regain HP, but now a Hellion's joining up with them. We'll see if ByuN waits on top of the ramp, but MaxPax is a very good Protoss, so maybe going to join these up or not take the bait, because he knows the openings in this game. He knows, okay, there's probably going to be a Hellion and 2 Reapers out. There's really no mystery. This one Adept does toss out a Shade so it can poke, but then it's also going to Shade on back, so MaxPax very wisely keeps his Adepts back home, so he's doing everything right. ByuN is going to try and amp up the aggression, which I think is definitely a good call, as if games get a little scrappy, that's how you can beat MaxPax. The 2 Reapers and Hellion are coming on in. Maybe they'll get a good grenade off on one of these Adepts, but they are grouped up, so it's going to be very difficult to micro. Hellion eats an Adept shot, as the Adepts just try and pursue that back. MaxPax has got a wall going up at the front, worried about the Hellion Reaper potential. And yeah, MaxPax has got Blink on the way, very well-rounded tech. And the Terran does have the natural base up, but there we have it. ByuN moving out for a drop. 2 Widow Mines, 4 Marines. Big Widow Mines can definitely win ByuN this game. We're going to see as this Medivac, though, will fly by these Adepts. ByuN just caught a glimpse of that. Not sure if MaxPax saw the Medivac or not. The Reapers and Hellions are coming home to defend against these Adepts, which is very important, as ByuN does not want to take any counter damage. He's got 2 Marines. He needs to raise that wall, and he does. Now the Reapers and Hellions are coming back to help out the Adepts. They actually complete the Shade onto the ramp, which is basically just going to leave them for dead. Meanwhile, ByuN goes in for his drop into the main base of MaxPax. Double Widow Mines unloading. Probes pulling maybe a little bit late. There is 1 big shot off, so a few workers getting done. I think that's the most damage ByuN's got done all series. I think he either killed I think 5, 6 probes there with that drop, so that was quite effective. He also cleaned up MaxPax on his side of the map. He's only lost 1 SCV this game. for killing 2 Adepts, 6 Probes. That's a good start. Now, this is where the concern rises for ByuN, though, as he's going to be up against Blink Stalkers, and MaxPax is moving across the map with those. He's got 6 out. ByuN is building a bunker this time, maybe a little late. I think ByuN may need to evaluate his building placement soon, though, because MaxPax is a bully with his Blink Stalkers, and you really do need to have your buildings placed to keep these Stalkers zoned out a little bit. Drop does go back into the main base, denying mining at this location. Meanwhile, the Reapers and Hellions actually killed a Stalker for 1 Reaper, but this is denying more mining time. Meanwhile, MaxPax is trying to micro on the other side of the map. He did blink in and kill off the tank, though, forcing out an auto turret. Now he can go into the main base. ByuN does have another tank about to pop, but this drop is still going on inside the main. Widowmine fires on 1 probe, a bit of a waste. Stalker expertly dodges that out. Siege tank is getting shots off, though, preventing this counterattack from getting too much damage done. That game got a little scrappy. MaxPax lost some mining time, so his income is actually a little bit lower as those probes get resettled. But ByuN, he did lose the Medivac. He lost the mines, the Reapers, the Hellions, so now MaxPax can focus 100% on his opponent's side of the map. Another tank is about to finish up, but look at this. In goes MaxPax once again. ByuN elected to unsiege one of the tanks so he could actually shuffle it. There's both of them sieging. It looks like the Observer actually gets picked off. That's a nice find, and SCV does need to repair that. The Raven also needs to be repaired for ByuN. He's just going to send that out on the map. MaxPax has got his Prism with 4 Stalkers loaded in. Oh no, he may be about to find the Raven. Will he react to this, unloading the Stalkers? I think ByuN sees that he's been seen, so he's actually going to get that Raven to a safe spot. That's massively important. MaxPax will not be able to get that. The Stalkers and a couple Zealots are poking on the front lines as MaxPax is thinking, maybe I can just get another quick kill like last time. Thinking like, okay, maybe ByuN's defense against this isn't the best. There is the bunker on the front and the tank, but it is just, I mean, 4 Marines in a bunker, 1 siege tank. There's the Marauders coming down to help out, which is very important. ByuN will need to pull SCVs very quickly if MaxPax does go for this. The other tank in the main base, it's covering the main, but the main threat is kind of from the edge of that base or at the natural. Looks like MaxPax, though, isn't going for it. He's just keeping pressure on his opponent. The Raven is still safe in that spot for now, but it's on very low HP. A drop going off for ByuN towards the base of MaxPax. We'll see if he can get anything. I mean, that's a decent amount of units. The third is very exposed. The main base is very exposed. MaxPax was trying to keep ByuN back at home with his army presence, but now all of a sudden he's going to need to warp in some units, but he can't because he's supply blocked, so he just has to go for a recall. ByuN's drop is going to get what it can done to trade out. Able to pick off a few of these Stalkers as the Medivac stays alive a little longer than it should. Now the Marauders and Marines are actually getting on top of this, so a very effective drop. Meanwhile, on the other side of the map, Zealots run in for MaxPax. Just a few Zealots. ByuN is fighting with his SCVs, sending the rest of his units across the map, looking for damage. There's Marauders coming to react to this. MaxPax is going to see that there's not that much cleaning them up, so he should be focused on the front lines, and ByuN is focused on the front. There is the 2 tanks they need to siege up right away for ByuN. There they go. The shield battery getting picked off would be huge, and ByuN is going to find that. Probes are forced to run away. A 3rd tank comes up. It needs to siege up right away. There it goes. Maybe a little bit late on the siege, though, as MaxPax blinks forward with the Stalkers. He's got the 1 Immortals. Tanks are actually going to shoot that down, and ByuN actually takes game number 3 to bring this series back just like that. Well done to the Terran player. To not go down without a fight, to shake off those previous other matches. And now we're going to go into Ultra Love for our next map. Just like that. Ladies and gentlemen, as we load into this next game, as always, click that like button if you haven't already, and subscribe if you enjoy these full best of 5 commentaries. Okay, so all of a sudden we've got a series on our hands after a quick couple of losses for ByuN. He is able to get aggressive on MaxPax and seizes the momentum. The drop did surprisingly well. MaxPax had a hole in his wall. He was supply blocked at a very poor time, and then he just had to recall, but he didn't really recall enough units, I guess. As ByuN sneaking that drop out unaccounted for is what really set him up for victory. Then the decisive movement to just attack on the other side of the map. He's like, okay, MaxPax is having a hard time cleaning up this drop. That means he's going to be vulnerable at the front. What is this barracks placement for ByuN? Just wanting to keep living in MaxPax's head rent-free with just placing his barracks all over the place. It looks like, though, that MaxPax does send out a probe scout, and it's going to find this Rax. Like, what is ByuN doing with this Rax placement? MaxPax actually sees this and is going to be like, what are you doing, man? ByuN has to send out another SCV. I think he's going to need to send out 2, maybe, in order to deal with this, because this SCV isn't fighting, and it's actually just going to just about die. It stays alive. Another SCV comes in. MaxPax knows and body blocks that. ByuN is just... Oh my gosh, what a terrible decision to put the Rax there for ByuN. That is not ideal. He needs to send down yet another SCV. MaxPax goes for a Cyber Core, realizing like, oh, there's going to be blood in this water. I wouldn't be surprised if he fired up a Zealot upon seeing this. Somehow that SCV did complete the Rax. Amazingly done. I guess just the pathing on that. MaxPax was unable to kill it, so ByuN only needed 2 SCVs to get that done. He's going to need to repair his other SCV, though, before this probe is able to kill it. Okay, it does get a little bit of repair on it, very important. This SCV is going to be building some tech, probably a starport later on, as this Reaper is on the way for ByuN. Man, that was a very sweaty start to the game, but ByuN does survive to play it out. Like, if MaxPax kills that other SCV, ByuN didn't have another one sending out. Like, so he would have been delayed for so long just on producing his first Reaper. The probe is still lurking around. Gonna head back into the Terran main base. The Reaper was hoping to find that, but is unsuccessful. A Hellion is on the way. Is MaxPax gonna recall the probe? No. Adept does get to the natural base and actually kill off the SCV building this. However, it may cost the Adept its life, but unfortunately ByuN messes up the Reaper micro, and that does actually cost him a Reaper when he probably could have kept both of those alive. Meanwhile, another Adept comes on in for MaxPax, maybe going to try and grab this SCV. Grenade goes down, which is very important. It's important the damage gets split on all these units. A poor pathing SCV does actually die as it just paths down towards the natural base. I'm not sure why that was, but... yeah, that is another nice grab for MaxPax. At least getting that, because he didn't actually kill anything other than that one worker. So that would have been quite a nice cleanup had ByuN not let that go that way. We do have a second Hellion crossing the map, going to be able to group up with the Reapers and Hellions of ByuN. He does send in his injured Hellion right out the gate, which is not ideal, and it does actually go down, so a bit of poor micro from ByuN once again. The Reapers and Hellions are actually going to get into the main base, though. They do kill off one of the Stalkers, and now MaxPax is going to have to pull probes. It's an uncomfortable position. We'll see how much damage this can get done. That's 3 probes, I believe. Will we see a 4th? Yes, we see a 4th. Will we see a 5th? As this Hellion can get some good shots off. Will it get one more? No, it doesn't. But all in all, that is 6 dead probes. I suppose 5 from that commitment. And getting the Stalker is nice. I would have really liked to see ByuN pull that injured Hellion back. You don't want the injured Hellion back on the front lines. You want something else. Behind this, MaxPax is going into a Warp Prism once again, so going to be looking to push into ByuN. ByuN doesn't really have this great wall built as the Terran, though, to park his tanks behind. This is going to allow MaxPax to blink into his main base, though. And so as a result, I am a little bit concerned. The Terran is producing some Marauders. He does have this tank at the front lines, but he's got like nothing to put in that. MaxPax doesn't have Blink yet, though. So that's actually massively important. If MaxPax had Blink a second earlier, that tank maybe would have been done for. I think that Protoss probably also expected there to be units to defend that. MaxPax now warping in more Stalkers, is going to go up the front lines. There is units inside that bunker. There's the Blink on top of it, and the problem is the Prism can just pick these units up. The bunker needs to be repaired, and it will. Marauders are doing work. ByuN holds the line for now, but losing a tank is a big loss. MaxPax can bounce around towards the main or repoke the front again. It's not an easy thing for the Terran to defend. It does look like MaxPax is respecting ByuN, though. He's not just warping in more Stalkers to go for a kill move. He's just going to be harassing inside the main. ByuN will need to reposition some of his units potentially to defend this, as in goes Stalkers into the main base. There's no stim, no combat shield, and no medivacs to heal up this bio, so any damage MaxPax gets is permanent for now. Which I guess is a bit of an oxymoron, but it's true. particularly picking off things like SCVs. ByuN is only on 29 workers, so a very pitiful amount, maybe having skipped a little bit of his macro cycles. A tank is around, however, there's an SCV that's very ripe for the pickings. ByuN's play is just not looking as polished as it always does. MaxPax is keeping pressure on his opponent, and I think that Terran is probably going to have to go for an all-in or something again, because, I say again, but for the first time, because like ByuN is so far behind, 31 SCVs to 48 probes. That is way more than the acceptable losses for a Terran. He's unsieging the tanks. Will any SCVs be pulled with that? Usually you can pull them a little bit later than in a regular match. ByuN is actually just going to move out with this bio now, try and bring the momentum against MaxPax, and there we go. SCVs are coming with this push. The Protoss can counter harass with these stalkers, but he's probably going to need them on the front lines as ByuN is just bringing everything. There's no charge done for the Protoss, so MaxPax is going to need to micro his heart out in order to win this game. He does have 13 stalkers, which is quite a count. He even supply blocks ByuN by killing off a depot, which is quite nice. So that's actually going to pause the Terran's production for now. A recall goes down as MaxPax realizes how serious this is. There's 3 tanks. I think ByuN needs to start sieging them up. There is one gonna siege up. Yeah, 1 siege is up there. A second 1 siege is up there. And a 3rd siege is up there as ByuN is going to try and put MaxPax in a compromising position. He's going to get this Rax. And ByuN actually stims on in. Going to unpower these gateways. However, the tanks are by themselves. MaxPax doesn't have anything in the Prism to actually unload on the tanks. So ByuN just seizing the day with this fight. The tanks need to be dove upon. That does leave the bio on the front lines to push. ByuN has reinforcements coming from behind. The Zealots are doing quite well for themselves, but the natural is compromised. SCVs need to buffer for this bio so it can kill MaxPax. ByuN needs to win the game here. It's important to remember the bio is doing what it can. MaxPax feels he doesn't even need to play with the probes in order to clean that up, but he does take it. GG. MaxPax looking a little sharper than ByuN in this series and is able to take it quite effectively with a 3-1 victory, ByuN took the 1 game from him, which was nice to see, but in the end, MaxPax did look way sharper. There's a few things I pointed out that ByuN could have done better, and I'm really not sure what happened in this game to put ByuN so far behind, but I think he must have slipped on SCV production or something, or maybe it was even just losing, say, that transferring SCV, losing the one at the start of the game just about, like slowed down his racks, that kind of thing. ByuN just did not have a great series here today. Anyway, it was still very entertaining to cast. Ladies and gentlemen, if you enjoyed this one, click that like button if you haven't already. Leave a comment down below. And then subscribe, most importantly, if you're not. New channel, we're aiming for 1,000 subscribers as soon as possible. I'll see you guys next time. Thanks so much for tuning on in.